Does this really mean it's going woke? Well, welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and man, that woke word is being thrown around again now for the Lord of the Rings series over on Amazon, and I wanted to talk about it. I brought in Lewis. Are you there, Lewis?
Hey, yeah, man, I'm here in my car. Popcorn Planet, what's up?
The voice of Lewis is from Nerd Report is joining us. Thank you for being here. You know a little bit more about Lord of the Rings than I, so I wanted to bring you into this conversation. I appreciate it. So there's two things I want to talk about, and I'm not trying to call out any channels. I want to have a conversation with you, audience, because I've seen some other channels and news outlets trying to report that the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon is everyone's worried it's turning woke because they have some diversity in its cast, as well as this headline that's been out that came out yesterday that it needs to work for a giant global audience, which is making people assume, well, that means they're going to have to lead it to China and they're going to diversify, they're going to go woke and go broke. I have yet to see any proof that they're going to do that, and I feel like the term woke is just being thrown around so often now as sort of a trending thing for hate clicks. I wanted to ask you guys, like, what's the deal here with this Lord of the Rings drama? Also, this show is apparently going to cost $500 million. Here's the quote I wanted to pull out for you guys from Lord of the Rings, where they talk about the first season budget is going to be $465 million, making it the most expensive series ever. What does this price tag say about the market today and how well it does? Does it need to justify that price tag? Here's the big quote that we've gotten so far that actually explains it. Here's Jennifer Salke from Amazon talking about it. The market is crazy, as you saw with the Knives Out deal. Netflix paid $469 million for 2 sequels. This is a full season of a huge world-building show. The number is a sexy headline or a crazy headline that's fun to click on, but that is really building the infrastructure of what will sustain the whole series. But it is crazy world, and various people on this Zoom, mostly Bela and me, have been in bidding situations where it starts to go incredibly high. There's a lot of wooing, and we have to make decisions on where we want to stretch and where we want to draw the line. As for how many people need to watch Lord of the Rings, a lot. A giant global audience needs to show up to it as appointment television, and we're pretty confident that that will happen. Now that's the full quote. She also just talks about how this is, it's a world building, meaning that a lot of this budget is going to go towards, creating more. I guess it was sort of in there, but creating more of a series sets and things that they'll be able to use throughout various series, because they're going to be building a lot of stuff out that they plan to use for 5 series. Lewis, this has a 5-season commitment already, plus they paid, I think it was $250 million just for the rights. So this show is going to balloon into several $1 billion to get this thing. So the first question is, was it worth it? I want to ask the audience. But second, I've seen a lot of people sort of jumping on to say, well, this must mean it's going woke, yada, yada, yada. And then some of the cast members are dark-skinned, I've seen people say, and that they don't want black elves running around the show because that's not how Tolkien envisioned it. And I just set me off in a weird thing, and I wanted to get your insight, Lewis, because as we were talking about this earlier, yes, there's a lot of critics of Lord of the Rings and lack of diversity. I know that. And then there's even talk, was Tolkien, was he this, yada, yada, etc. But the reality is, like, as an example, Lewis, elves being black. Like, is that, you know a little bit more about the books and stuff. Is that weird for elves to be black? And does it matter if they are in this series? Does that make it go woke, in which case then we have to revolt against this show? What are your thoughts on that, Lewis?
Well, look, I'm not an expert on Tolkien. Everyone's interpretation of the books is different, and that's when the audience here, I hope they put in their opinions in the comments later. But as far as I know, there's no definitive elves being the most beautiful of the land have to be white, and stuff like that. As we know, people, if you have taste, you know that beauty comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. Maybe that's woke to you and stuff like that, but it's not to me. So I think the keyword woke is just creating a fictional boogeyman. And just for the record, Peter Jackson expanded on the female roles or characters for the Lord of the Ring trilogy. And that was considered woke back in the day because Tolkien mostly wrote men characters and was very thin on the female character development. So there you go. History repeats itself, but this time we have YouTube to make it bigger or seem bigger.
Right, and you brought it up, but it's like, and correct me if there's bigger Tolkien fans out there that can correct me. Please do. Again, I'm not trying to. I don't want to point out anybody or criticize somebody. I'm trying to understand, like, what's the criticism here? Why can't elves be black? Why does it matter? Okay, well, it was the world Tolkien created, but Lewis reminded me, elves are described as the fairest creatures in Ardar, far more beautiful race than men, generally tall. Among them, those who had gone to Valinor were the fairest and had the greatest skill of body. Had keener senses than men. They go at slender. Did they really say what skin color they were? There's debate about the debate about the pointed ears. Open for speculation. It says there was no explicit references to pointed ears in The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, or the Silmarillion. And then they talk about the eye color, the hair color. But again, I feel like there's just a lot of just argument, and then people just say, oh, yeah, there's black people in the show, so therefore they're going woke, and that's not what Tolkien wanted. We must do what Tolkien wanted. I mean, this is all based on not even on an official book. Like, I think it's pieces from the Silmarillion and other, like, sort of things unpublished. And so, like, we're in new territory. We're doing an adaptation. Who cares if this is a diverse cast and they make a couple black elves? We're in a new time period. As long as it doesn't become about black rights of elves, and become an actually, like, I don't know, then you know what I mean? Like, if it's like doing like political stuff like today in the world of Tolkien, I agree that then I feel like they're going to this overly political place. I'm just like, what's going on? Stop hitting me over the head with it. But if they're going to tell a new story with the character, or origin of these characters, and there happens to be some diverse casting in it, so what? Why is that? Why are we already complaining about it, Lewis, before we've even seen it? I see some dark-skinned characters, so therefore I'm nervous now because the show's going to get, they're going to shove it in our face and be woke. I just feel like it is. I have a problem with that, and I want to make sure unless I'm missing something, even if Tolkien says, oh, well, all the characters are white. Why? Who cares? Why is this such a big issue? And it doesn't sound like he even did. So go ahead, Lewis. You were going to say something.
Well, look, we know why they're saying that, because it monetizes and stuff like that. It's the keyword of the hour, too sweet to be sour. So listen, here's the deal. From what I understand, the Tolkien estates, they were not too into Peter Jackson's vision as much as they're into this one. So the one Amazon's producing has the blessing of the Tolkien estates, who they know him more than Peter Jackson. So if they're saying that they want the people who are complaining about it being woke are saying, well, this isn't Tolkien's vision. Well, the estates, I think, knows the Tolkien's vision a little better than some random YouTuber number 12. All right. So there's the deal. Watch the thing. I understand, it monetizes to use that keyword. No one's really an expert on what Tolkien did, because the guy was a genius, almost borderline crazy. Pretty much Lord of the Rings is unfilmable. Okay?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's going to be creative input. Whoever makes it.
Right, and Peter Jackson did a pretty fantastic job, making the unfilmable, and he made some choices that I think were smart, by upping some of the female characters, because we do have to change for the times a bit and make it a little bit more exciting. I think that helped, and so sometimes adapting for the times in a blind, it's a colorblind sort of way. Why is that a problem? To me, I'm curious, audience. What do you think? Does it really matter? This is not like we're adapting the Lord of the Rings. We're doing an origin prequel, new thing with the estate of Tolkien, with pieces and things that they're putting together. That's clearly going to take some creative liberties. This is an adaptation. We haven't even seen it yet. Should we be complaining about its casting choices before we even know who these characters are? These are probably all new characters. And then if, God forbid, they decide, you know what? Yeah, there are some black elves in this series. Is that the end of the world? Why is that suddenly the reason we're all going to say, oh, I can't watch it because there's black elves in it? To me, it just feels like I don't know. I personally am just getting annoyed by that, and I wanted to know what people think, and if are people concerned about that? To me, the bigger question is, and I want to go back to it, is this price tag? I mean, the fact that Amazon is spending $465 million, that's what shocks me more than anything for this first season, because how do you get this giant global audience? I don't know if going woke is even how you would go about it. Why would they even spend this kind of money when so many people already have Amazon Prime? That's another question we were talking about live last night on our show, which if you haven't, become become a member, watch the full uncensored replay. You can always do that as members in the community tab. But we were talking about it, and everybody in the chat and everybody on the panel, they all have Prime for the Prime benefits. Most of us didn't even realize that the Prime benefits came with video streaming on top of it, and it's not why we're there. So unless they're going to add, like, make Video Prime be an add-on besides, aside from the overnight shipping and Prime benefits, did they even need to do this, Lewis, is the real question I have. And I'm curious, chat, tell me, are you gonna, do you have Prime, and would you keep Prime even if this show was the perfect show, with whatever, however politically you're aligned? Would you really, is this going to change your mind whether you keep your Amazon Prime or not? Is what I want to know in the comments. Let me know. Lewis, do you agree? Like, this seems like a big cost. I mean, Amazon has money. Let's be clear, but
it's a drop in the bucket, man. We're talking Amazon. They've been marinating this show. This is the one that's going to put them in the map. It's not about Lord of the Rings. It's not about the price tag. It's about what's coming after. After they've been putting in their shows, right? A few hit and misses. The Boys, big hit. That Invincible hit, right? But Lord of the Rings is the one that's going to get them, they think, in talks in the same sentence with Disney Plus and Netflix. That's what it is. And then what comes after is what they're going to be, worried about the budget and stuff. This is a big advertisement for them. This is their Game of Thrones.
It's true, because even if as long as the show is respected by the estate and by the fans and the filmmakers, other filmmakers may want to come and say, you know what? I would like to give you my IP, Amazon, because you respected it, which is, I wouldn't have thought you did, but you gave it a lot of money. A lot of people are going Apple just because it seems like Apple's like, yeah, whatever, here's a ton of money, Scorsese, to make your movie. So it's a good point of, it's sort of a calling card of like, yep, we got a lot of money to throw around for the right things that are going to, be game changers out there. So if you want to do it, come get us. And the truth is, I bet you a lot of people have Prime and don't even realize it. A lot of people are using the Amazon Prime services and don't even know, oh, great, I get to go watch all these other movies and stuff on that app. So you're right. This is probably that big, Coming to America 2, Borat 2, The Boys. They've had some spikes where people are like, oh, cool. But you're right. This could be the big, shiny show they need to really stand up against all the big dogs. But still, I mean, my God, to know that it's $465 for the one season, 5 seasons all total, plus the $250 that they bought the rights for. Several $1 billion invested in this show. I mean, man, the pressure on this show is insane. But she's right. Jennifer Salke's right. Like, the fact that Netflix dolled out $470 million just for 2 Knives Out movies, that's also insane to me. So much money being thrown around for this content, and for what? For subscribers.
And we can't even get a couple more members. What the hell, members?
Well, it's wild. I'm curious. Do you guys think this is worth it? Are you worried that it's going to go woke just because there's some racial, some other races in the cast? I mean, is this something we should be worrying about right now, or is this all just weird YouTube clicks? I'm not going to keep getting into that. A lot of people think that's where I'm turning, Lewis, but no. I'd like to be very clear once in a while. I don't care if there's black elves. This is not, it's not even like a story that we're like, we don't even know the story yet. Now, let's see what happens. Let's see how the show goes and what the script does and what the actual thing is. And then we can talk of, did it get too political or too woke? But to me, to jump on that already is weird. And I wanted to see if anybody else is feeling me, or maybe I'm missing something. Go ahead. Final word, Lewis. And here I have Nerd Report on screen.
Final word. If you do not think Lord of the Rings is political, then you're watching the wrong movie, or you just didn't get it. Lord of the Rings is political. So get out of here with that crap.
So like a lot of people yesterday were all, Rage Against the Machine was trending because they're like, why is Rage Against the Machine getting into politics? It's like, have you not listened to a single of their songs? Who do you think the Machine is? People don't get it. Yeah, it's true. The Lord of the Rings has a lot of, but it's all like old British right? And it's like, I get it. Some people want that to be adapted the straight way. Okay, I guess that's the argument. I want it to be adapted the way it was, but you got that with Peter Jackson's pretty much, and you have the book. We're allowed to make other adaptations. Let's give it a shot before we throw it out the door, is what I'm saying. But I appreciate your thoughts here, Lewis. Thanks for adding them. Go check out Nerd Report. Make sure to sub or join to his channel as well. He's a friend of the channel, friend of mine. Love when he's on here. And if you haven't already subbed here to Popcorn Planet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, use the bell for all alerts. Otherwise, they don't even tell you my videos come. But I appreciate it. And leave that comments. I'm curious. What do you think on this topic? Are you worried? Is this a non-worry for you? And do you think the spend is is worth it. Do you already have Prime? Wouldn't even matter. I'm going to be checking out some of your comments, engaging with them. So thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more commentary, coverage, scoops, exclusives, so much more here on Popcorn Planet.